Okay, I'll
My
admit
ult's
it.
ready.
Us Americans have said some pretty dumb things on the internet and also in person. So I want you guys to do me a favor and let me know in the comments down below what the dumbest thing one of us Americans has said to you guys. Because I had a ton of people in the comment section give me their own experiences with us Americans saying some off the wall stuff. And here's some of my favorite ones. As an Indonesian whose country definitely has its share of morons, I cannot choose what the dumbest thing Americans have said to me online. They have told me that America is the only country with cultural diversity. They have told me that every US state is as internationally significant as any sovereign states. They have told me that the US military trains literally every single soldier in other countries' armed forces. They have complained about other countries not buying US products while also bragging about how the US can be economically independent from other countries. They have told me that the poorest US states have higher quality of life than most European countries. They have told me that the global dominance of US showbiz is an evidence that US measurement system is better than metric. They actually believe that the uglier their behaviors are, the more charming they are. They insist that other countries have severe gun problems just like the US does, just to name a few. Edit, I definitely interacted with actual intelligent Americans, but let's face it, the ugly ones really stick out like sore thumbs. And this unfortunately seems to be the case in a lot of what we've been seeing across the internet. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the more people have access to phones and other devices that are able to make posts on social media platforms, the more we get to see how interesting the world truly is. And us Americans continuously expose ourselves on a day-to-day basis. I've done it myself. I am not innocent of this. An American bought some coffee on board our train. A few minutes after buying the coffee, she came back and complained the coffee was cold. I had to point out that she had poured cold milk in the coffee, and that's why it was cold. Of course, people from Europe have done similar stuff, but she became indignant when I pointed it out instead of laughing about it. See, I think that's a universal commonality between most of us Americans. We do not like being called out, even if it is a honest correction in a lot of cases. I used to be like this a long time ago because I didn't want to be embarrassed and whatnot, but I would much rather someone correct me than have me looking crazy. The craziest thing I've heard is secondhand, but I have no reason to doubt it. A couple of summers ago, my American nieces came to visit us in Norway, both in their late teens. They naturally wanted to stay healthy, so they asked my mother, with whom they were staying, where it would be safe to go jogging. My mother was a little confused, but admitted that the road went just by the house. Just have at it, but be careful about traffic. It only came up later that my nieces hadn't really been asking about the traffic, but about personal security as women. But the answer would still have been the same. Oddly enough, I do feel like that was kind of a valid question. As Americans, the United States is not safe virtually at all. In some places it's safer than others for sure, but there are varying levels of danger. So of course, when you're roaming around at nighttime, especially as a woman, it can be very dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous. So I'm pretty sure they were just trying to make sure that they didn't get snatched up and thrown in a van somewhere and taken to oblivion. I feel like that one for sure, there could be some misunderstandings around that. Because it's like, but for the people living in Norway, they're like, well, dude, there's nothing that happens out here. What are you talking about? There's nothing you got to worry about. If you guys have your own personal stories, let me know in the comments down below, but we're going to be diving into a slew of very delusional posts from my fellow Americans. And these are just some things that are funny to laugh at and whatnot, just kind of take the edge off. We've had a pretty interesting week this week, so let's finish it off with a bang. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. If you guys are returning viewers, welcome back. Please, please, please help us hit 1 million subscribers by liking this video and subscribing if you haven't already. I just found out British people call dish soap washing up liquid. Brits are not serious people. And the comment underneath that says, just heard Americans regularly shoot up schools but still won't ban guns. Yanks are not serious people. Yikes, what a diabolical clapback. And you can imagine the comment section was going ballistic with this. Okay, sidewalk guy. Not gonna lie, that one went right over my head. I don't know what that means. If somebody can elaborate, let me know. Just found out Americans called Trump a president. Americans are not serious people. Oh, damn. Yeah, that one, I have no words for that one. My hands are tied. I have just found out that Yanks call washing up liquid dish soap. What a bunch of cretins. We have now entered the space of tomato versus tomato. And of course, we have not come to an agreement at all on what to call dishwashing soap or liquid washing, liquid washing. Americans also call a game that is primarily played with their hands football. You know, it's funny, when I learned about football as a kid and when I got, yelled at by my European classmate that was an exchange student from Germany. I'm like, you know what? Why don't we call American football handball and soccer football? I mean, soccer is football, right? But in the United States, we call it soccer, and we call American football. But I'm like, dude, we don't. The only person that touches the football with their feet is the kicker, and that's it. There's one kicker per team, and that's literally it. So what about just calling it handball, American handball? I mean, that makes more sense, right? That makes way more sense, but I don't know. That makes too much sense, apparently. Don't they have to clarify which part of the horse to sit on? Horseback riding and eyeglasses? I don't think they have a leg to stand on here. You see, the more you bring stuff up like that, I'm starting to say that we definitely can't call anybody out. God dang. I didn't even think of that. I did not even think of that. What about thumb drive? What do you guys call flash drives? Herbs instead of herbs is the verbal equivalent of nails on a blackboard. In that comment alone, I knew exactly what they were talking about, but we do call it chalkboard in the United States. Because you take the chalk to write on the board. I think we're infinitely cooked with this post in the comment section, because the comments keep calling out things I've never even considered thinking about. And this is kind of wicked. Dang. Are there other things you guys have noticed with the American English language that we may have said or concocted that can basically be used against us in this context? Until they actually take the whole kids getting murdered in school thing seriously, not a single American can ever say anything negative about another country. I mean, what comeback could they possibly have to them doing the square foot of sweet fuck all about kids getting murdered in school? Well, what can I say? I can't really say anything, because that comment definitely ate. The square root of fuck all. That's wild. Cool. World Series. See, I always wondered about that, and you've heard me mention this in many, many, many videos on this channel, but World Series for sports that are exclusive to the United States, or teams and events that are exclusive to the United States. I'm like, Now, baseball does exist outside of the United States for sure, but the World Series? Not everybody in the world takes part in this, by the way. It's typically just national teams. This one is just mean-spirited. I get it. As an American, I know many uncultured, isolationist Americans. I also know our nation is very split on gun control, and many people wish for more. However, the crux of the gun issue is the firearm lobby and basically political greed and corporate strong-arming. But go ahead and keep bringing up child murder as a response to someone calling people not serious. We meet again. We meet again. I knew that was going to happen. I knew somebody in the comment section was going to, well, how could you equate this to that? And blah, blah, blah. Stereotypes. They exist for a reason. Okay. They're not great. Some of them are not great. Some of them are better than others, for sure. Doesn't mean that you have to take it on the chin. You can definitely retaliate and say some crazy stuff back, but doesn't change the fact that a stereotype is a stereotype for a reason. And yeah, that has been a thing for a long time. Listen, if we hadn't had a slew of them, definitely towards the end of last year, very recently, this wouldn't even really be a point of discussion. But it's so common that most of us Americans are desensitized to it. And I get the, hey, you guys can't, every time we bring up something, you guys always bring up school shootings. I'm like, it's because it's a thing. This is the greatest country on earth. We invented everything, including the wheel. America stole fire from the gods themselves. A few moments later, I'm half Irish, half Scottish, 2/3 German, and 110% Polish. If my grandfather was Neil Armstrong, that wouldn't make me a fucking astronaut. I'm glad somebody else said it, because good Lord, I've been saying this since I was a child. I remember like in 5th grade, I was 10 years old, and all of a sudden, mind you, this was 2005. I'm old as hell, I know. But back in 2005, it felt like it spawned out of nowhere. People were like, I'm 115% gargantuan. I'm 325% Polish. And I'm like, bro, okay, like, why do we care? I was asking all the time, why do we give a fuck? We don't care about that. I don't give a fuck if you're like 0.3% Native American. Does that have an impact on your personality for some reason? Is this now going to be a part of your personality for the rest of your life? Like, what's the point in telling me this? Because it doesn't make any sense. There were plenty of people. I think what it was an identity crisis. And I know it wasn't just the 5th graders that were doing it. I mean, everybody was doing it. I'm not sure if this is where the little MyHeritage website thing probably started and then everybody like ran with it. But I do know that something happened. Maybe I just happened to notice people doing this more, but at least for me in 2005, I noticed what almost seemed to be a trend of people identifying as all these different like races and stuff. Oh, I'm like 0.3% Scottish or something. And I'm like, okay, who cares? Something had to have been invented around that time frame for people to be that viciously obsessed, because people still are to this day. And I'm like, man, I'm tired of people calling America the dumbest country in the world. Quite frankly, I think Europe is. And then the comment underneath that says, Europe isn't a country. You validated your own question. Checkmate. Good Lord. It's like the jokes write themselves, right? I think Europe is. Holy patriotism? Holy lack of brain cells. Good God. The person typed that out and didn't check what they wrote before they hit submit. That happens a lot. I feel like that happens more than ever these days. People hop on the internet, they type blindly, they hit submit, and then boom. I've done it a lot. I've done it a lot, honestly. But that's crazy. Especially when you're making a point about America not being the dumbest country in the world, and then you contradict yourself in the same statement. That's crazy. I love this sub because as a US citizen, I see the stupidity firsthand and sometimes become numb to it. So this place is a nice reminder that the world sees us for who we are, collectively at least. But goddamn, the bar is on the floor and we still can't manage it. What can I tell you? I'm glad the rest of the world doesn't have their blinders on, because again, this user is absolutely right. Being in the United States and hearing all kinds of wicked, dumb shit all the time, day to day, like clockwork. You get numb to it. You know, you get numb to it. You're like, all right, cool, whatever. Just another day another day in the neighborhood. But then when other people hear the things that leave our mouths, and they're like, did you hear what you just said? You fucking idiot. Do they have any self-awareness? You validated your own question. That's what I'm saying. This user posted something that was supposed to be like a gotcha moment, and they got themselves. And I'm like, bro, please. Reading is fundamental. Read what you wrote and then make some modifications if you need to, and then hit submit, okay? His argument was going so well till he started typing. My thoughts exactly. People would stop calling America the dumbest country in the world if America stopped talking. Well, do you guys agree with this take? Let me know in the comments down below, because, man, maybe there's some truth to this. America is the colloquial term for the United States of America in the same way Mexico is the colloquial term for the United Mexican States. Yes, but when we say America, most people think of the United States, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not, maybe not. That's just some dumb shit that I thought of just now. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments down below. Typically, when I say Americans and stuff like that, I'm referring to the United States of America, which is probably why you guys came up with the term USAENs. The top of this post says, what do you think of London lawyers? And the response from a user says, there's a work ethic and expectation hierarchy with New York at the top, some other major US cities below that, then Asia, then the rest of the US below that, and then there's some phytoplankton, and then below those are lawyers from Europe. Welcome to the big leagues, kid. And then it had 22 downvotes. Oh my God. Yeah, this user's obviously fried in the head, because this was asking about what they think about London lawyers and why the freak are you bringing the United States into any of this. I feel like this is a good old-fashioned case of US defaultism, but I could be wrong. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. The US work ethic: work harder, not smarter. Slogging away at it and putting in all the hours God sends does not equal increased productivity. Quite often it has the opposite effect. Work-life balance is important for very good reasons. And I can rant about this all day, but one big thing that I've noticed with the American work culture is that the system is designed for people to work themselves to the bone. Now, we do have jobs that provide a ton of money, right? Tons of money that people can use to do whatever with it, but there's no use if you are constantly on the hamster wheel, burning yourself and filing yourself down. There is this mentality that if you're not constantly working and doing something, then you're absolutely lazy and a waste of space, and you're perceived as not being a productive member of society, which is incredibly toxic, especially when you want to spend time with friends and family and actually enjoy the fruits of your labor. In the United States, unfortunately, that is not encouraged. It's not encouraged to take time off. It's not encouraged to take time to yourself, to actually enjoy what you've built for yourself. And I think that's one of the defining factors in general that separates the United States from the entire continent of Europe and a lot of other places as well. Not the entire world, but to a degree, at least the continent of Europe. Interesting that they put Asia above a part of the US. On occasion, we tend to humble ourselves. On occasion, not often, but on occasion. I wonder who taught them rules of law. Honestly, I don't have that answer, big dog, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What did you guys think of this? What is the craziest experience you've had from one of us Americans that you've witnessed, the dumbest things we have ever said to you guys?
Yo, what's going on, nerds? So I'm back. I've been gone for about a week, mostly because I've been pretty sick. I announced on the community tab that I had a fever, which I did, but that fever then turned into, I believe I had tonsillitis. I still haven't gotten the proper diagnosis, but I'm taking antibiotics and I'm getting better, and I feel good enough to the point where I can now record a proper video. So today we're gonna look at a TikTok woman who believes that fat phobia is rooted in racism. Now, fat phobia, in case you don't know, is the fear that when you're on a plane with somebody, the sheer volume of the person that you're sitting next to is so gargantuan to the point that they are literally invading the seat that you paid for, as in they're taking up literally 2 seats. And I don't know about you, but if I pay for a plane ticket, if I pay for a seat on an airplane, I want that to be my seat, okay? I don't want somebody's stomach to be seeping its way into my seat. Now, with that being said, you don't need to be harassing fat people. Like, if some random fat guy is just minding his own business, getting a Nutter Butter pack from a vending machine, you don't need to go up to him and, you know, start making fun of him, pretending that he's like a blimp. Now, with that being said, these people on TikTok are trying to pressure people, specifically men, into dating fat women. I've actually never seen a fat guy, like, try to pressure a woman into dating him, being like, oh, you're not gonna date me because I'm an obese man, you're fat phobic. No, dude, it's usually only women doing that to men. Now, it's very cringe, and we're gonna watch a video where this woman explains that if you don't want to date a fat woman, that you're apparently racist. You know, even though there are plenty of black people that don't want to date fat women, there's plenty of non-white people that don't want to date fat women, believe it or not. But anyways, let's watch this video.
Here's your reminder that fat phobia is rooted in racism.
Blue hair detected, opinion rejected. Also, why are you acting like you're my phone giving me a reminder? I don't need a reminder. I never will need a reminder. She's here like, oh, it's your daily reminder that fat phobia is... No, I don't care. I don't care. If you took like 1/4 of the sheer willpower you have to make it seem like people that don't want to date fat people are racist and put it toward daily mile-long jogs, you'd slowly become more healthy and would not even need to be doing this weird research to try to essentially guilt men into dating you, and you'd actually become naturally more attractive.
As always, if you haven't read this book, go do that.
If you haven't worked out yet today, go do that. If you haven't gone outside yet today, go do that. I mean, holy shit, like, this is nuts. You're telling me to now read like a 300 or so page long book, probably filled with a bunch of retarded information about why, if I don't date fat people, that I'm essentially a domestic terrorist, when instead of like dedicating my time to reading through pages and pages of irritable bowel syndrome, I can just be doing pull-ups, curls, push-ups, just be running. Like, there's so much better stuff I could be doing with my time.
The main thing to understand is that for the last 300-ish years, white folks have been marketing fatness as a black trait.
Yeah, that's gotta be one of the most retarded things I've ever heard in my life. 3:38 p.m. on October 15th, 2021, I heard one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. That's also just not true. I don't know why she thinks that this is, like, fact because it's written. It's just not true. Like, this lady right here is fat. She is a white woman. Like, I don't understand. I'm not sitting here shocked that you're not a person of color just because you're fat. That makes no sense, my friend.
And this is regardless of whether or not black people individually were actually fat. That was irrelevant. The message they spread was that black women specifically were ravenous and uncontrollable.
No person is uncontrollable based on their race. Any person from any racial group can make the decision to eat poorly, not eat healthily, to sit around and watch Netflix all day, and to get zero exercise. Like, that's not a racial decision. Like, I really don't understand what this woman is trying to say.
Over the years, these messages have become more subtle, but even today, they are still very prevalent in conversations around race, health, capitalism, and poverty.
Health? Like what? Obviously being fat is going to be a prominent talking point in a conversation about health. Why did she throw that in there as if that's like some sort of big new discovery? Anyways, there's another video that I'm sure you've seen by now because it's pretty old. It's about this woman who is morbidly obese and makes a video where she pretty much complains that no man really wants to date her because she's overweight.
Hey, bestie! You're wrong. I think it's time for another adult pre-K lesson. What do you think? All right, turn your listening ears on. Zoop, catch a bubble in your mouth. Good job.
Serious question, okay? What do these people do for a living? Okay, what pays their bills? And not just their dinner bills, like their actual life expenses, like electricity. No, because seriously, right? This person's on TikTok, they have clothes, they're in a house, they obviously have some sort of income. And I'm legit struggling to imagine where these people are employed. Like who employed these people? Because I feel like any place this person may have worked at, they'll find a way to get offended and quit the job.
Okay, here's the thing. Having a preference is something like, I'm looking for a partner who likes kayaking or wakes up early in the morning.
Or is not so obese to the point where if they were launched into space, they would catch orbit and become Earth's second moon.
Or loves pizza.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you've got that one covered. Don't worry.
But when your preferences exclude an entire group of marginalized people, that's problematic. Okay, that's not nice. That's not a preference.
Okay, but what are you gonna do about that? Like, actually, what are you going to do? If a dude does not want to date a fat person, what are you gonna do? You cannot force him to date you. You just can't do that. I'm sorry if you think that it's not nice, but it's just the truth. So take the L and cope, because it's not your prerogative to say that men, oh, they have to date fat women to be nice. Okay? Donating to charity is nice. Giving to homeless people is nice. I'm not doing community service by dating a fat woman. Like, what?
If you lump all fat people in one group together as though they are not very different individuals, that's fatphobic. Just like lumping all black people in one group and saying, I don't like black people is racist. And lumping all disabled people in one group and saying, I don't think people in wheelchairs are hot, is ableist. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I don't, because there's a difference between platonic and romantic relationships. If I just said, oh, I don't want to be friends with fat people, that's kind of weird. But it's completely acceptable if I was going to say something like, oh yeah, I don't want to date a fat person because I find zero romantic pleasure in doing so. That's not, like, unethical for me to say. Like, I don't understand why these people think that I'm some sort of moral deviant for having a preference. And she does this weird example where she like, compares, you know, not wanting to date fat people to disliking black people as an entire group, which is one of the worst arguments I've seen for why people should be willing to date fat people. Now, make no mistake, right? If you're a person and you don't care if your significant other is fat or overweight, right? Power to you. Like that's good. That's great. But if you think that it's morally justified for you to be shoving those beliefs down my throat and saying that I now need to change the way that I view women, and that if I don't find a specific woman attractive, that I am some sort of like a not nice person, or that I'm immoral, or like I'm just an evil person, like that's just ridiculous. Like, imagine if I sat here and said, oh yeah, ladies, you gotta find white guys attractive. If you don't find white guys attractive, oh my god, if you don't find white guys attractive, you are not a nice person. Like, do you see how stupid and silly this logic gets when it's used in a separate context? Not all women are gonna like white guys. It's fine. It's a-okay. Not all men are gonna like fat chicks. That's fine. It's equally as fine. And to say that it's not, you're being ridiculous. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. But I am back, assuming that these antibiotics work their entire course. But with that all being said, comment down cheese if you made it to the end of the video, and I'll try to heart your comment, join the Discord server, and follow my social medias. Links are all in the description below. And big thanks to my channel members. You guys rock, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. Right, so a couple of my friends know that I make YouTube videos, so every now and then when they see something stupid or something cringy, they'll actually send it to me and say, hey, yo, you think this would be good for a video? Do you want to look at this? And most of the time I end up saying no, or I'll look at it, but I end up not making a video on it. But today my friend sent me something that is so absurd that I have to talk about this, bro. So over the past 2 weeks, I've been working out more. I've been going to the gym, trying to get myself in in good shape. You know, I've been running, lifting weights, doing ab workouts, all that sort of stuff, okay? I want defined muscles, and I want to be healthy. And you know, with quarantine and shit, I've kind of got a little bit of the gamer bod going on, so I'm a little bit tired of that. We're here to grind and get healthy, and I've been really hyped out about this decision that I've made to start working out. So I told one of my friends about this, and later on, actually, since we were talking about health and stuff when I told him I was working out, later that day, he ends up sending me a TikTok about how being healthy is actually fat-phobic. And listen, I'm gonna keep it a $1.25 here. If being healthy is fat-phobic, yo, call me the king of the fat-phobes, bro. I am in it, bro. It's so funny, too. These people will go through mental gymnastics in order to find the right psychological reasoning as to why them not working out is somehow empowering, or how being fat is more brave than being a firefighter who saved a puppy from a burning building, when in all reality, the 120 volts of brain power that they're using to try to think of these autistic arguments for why being fat is healthy could have been energy you used to, I don't know, lift weights or go running or something. It's really not that hard. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at this TikTok here. If you guys could leave a like and subscribe to help this video out in the algorithm, I would seriously appreciate that, and let's take a look at this thing.
5 facts to fight diet culture.
Okay, 5 facts to fight diet culture. Now, this shit is just painful to hear, to be honest. It's just, like, the most depressing thing I've ever heard. It's like, why would you ever want to fight the process of some dude that's 400 pounds trying to make his life better by cutting down on the amount of funnel cakes that he's shoveling down his throat? 5 facts to fight diet culture. Dude, stop. How about 5 facts to stop eating literal garbage every day? And I'm not talking about these women specifically. I'm talking about people in general. There are even times for myself where I'll realize, why am I eating this shit? Like, I distinctly remember last month going downstairs to make myself a Pop-Tart before I went to sleep, and I was like, dude, why do I need a Pop-Tart before I go to sleep? That's just, come on, I can do better than that.
The idea that we cannot govern our own bodies is rooted in European colonization.
Wait, what? I'm just gonna say that again because I'm not even sure I understood what I just heard, okay? The idea that we can't govern our own bodies is rooted in European colonization. First of all, why specifically European colonization? Why not Spanish colonization? Why any other colonizations that have ever occurred in the history of the world? The idea that we can't govern our bodies is rooted in European colonization. So let me get this straight. Because Christopher Columbus came to the United States and, like, killed a bunch of Native Americans. Therefore, eating spinach to get stronger muscles and maybe not getting the double, triple cheeseburger, quarter pounder deluxe with fries is the same thing as Christopher Columbus killing a bunch of natives? What? I don't understand this. They said that diet culture is rooted in Christopher Columbus coming to the United States and, like, taking over shit. Like, I don't understand that. Do you think the first European settlers in the United States, do you think those guys were on, like, a keto diet? Do you think those guys were, like, vegan or something? Like, what?
Diet culture is not rooted in health. It's rooted in power.
Okay, so that just made no sense at all. Are you gonna, like, prove that at all, or are you just gonna say that and just leave it there and just, like, I don't know, tell us to educate ourselves or something? Diet culture apparently isn't rooted in health, but it's rooted in power. Okay, so not only do you have no evidence for that whatsoever, but even as an anecdote, your claim is still completely shit. A lot of the times when people go on diets, it's for themselves. Yeah, sometimes it's to conform to societal standards, but I know for myself and a lot of the people that I know who are on diets, it's for ourselves. It's about taking care of our own personal health. But even if I was dieting purely to conform to societal standards, I would be happy because that would show the sign of, like, a strong, healthy society that cares for its people.
Your body needs food.
You don't have to earn it or burn it off.
That is actually insane. They say one thing that is so obvious to anybody who's ever breathed, like, your body needs food. Like, no shit. Why do you think anybody has eaten anything ever? So they start off their claim by stating the most obvious fact known to man, but then they end it by saying the most biggest lie known to man. They say, your body needs food, but you don't need to burn it off. Dude, what do you think happens when you eat so much food and you don't burn any of it off? Like, if you just lay in bed all day and just eat, what do you think is gonna happen? You will get clogged arteries, you'll get high blood pressure, and you will die.
The harm starts young. Children internalize fat phobia by the age of 5.
Well, it depends how you define fat phobia. I don't think kids at the age of 5 are, like, terrified of fat people. Like, when I was 5 years old, I had a bunch of chubby little friends. Like, we were vibing playing with Beyblades and stuff. So yeah, I don't know if I buy it, to be honest. And again, you've also not giving any evidence for this. So again, I don't know if this is true at all. Actually, I don't think this is true one bit.
Diet culture is fat phobia.
It can't be reformed. It must be abolished.
Okay, and just like that, the video ends by saying smarter in seconds. No, I feel actually more retarded, to be honest. So what did we learn from the video? We learned that Christopher Columbus, like, started fat phobia. We learned that being healthy isn't rooted in health, but it's rooted in power. And what? That children want to be healthy. I know, crazy stuff, dude. Breakthrough stuff here. Also, real quick, jumping back to that whole kids internalized fat phobia at age 5 thing, that seriously can't be true, because when I was 5 years old, I was eating the most sugary stuff. I would have Lucky Charms for every breakfast, and then I'd have a bowl of Lucky Charms before I went to bed. Like, there's no way 5-year-old me was internalized fat phobic. But I'm gonna be honest, if 5-year-old me was internalized fat phobic, I'd give him a high five. It's so crazy because like 4 out of the 5 things they said are just straight up false. And if not just straight up incorrect, it's a very subjectively true anecdote. But we know for a fact that video's not getting taken off TikTok for medical misinformation. I don't know how this gets propagated through the TikTok ecosphere. Like, I can imagine the only people that are liking this and, you know, sharing this around to their friends are either people like my friend who sent this to me because they thought it was so ridiculous, or people that are very depressed and overweight that need to rationalize the fact that they are treating their bodies horribly and need like reaffirming TikToks like this that say, you know, comforting things like, oh, it's okay that you're, you know, slowly killing yourself. Yeah, that's actually society's fault. Well, even if it's not society's fault, it's a result of European colonization. It's not your fault. Anyways, I've had TikTok deleted off of my phone for probably almost 3 months at this point, and every time I see crap like that, I just know that I'm never going back. So if you haven't already, I would encourage you to delete TikTok. It's just cancer. But I also want to add some positivity to this video, so I hope by making this video, I also maybe encourage you guys to start working out too, because I know that it's been great for me recently. There's tons of health benefits, both mental and physical. It is a great way for you to spend free time. Like, usually when I have free time, I'll sometimes default to either watching YouTube or sort of just laying around, not really doing anything and being pretty unproductive. But I encourage you guys, you know, look up some exercises that you can do at home if you don't have the equipment. And if you do have the equipment at home, there's really no excuse for you not to be working out, dog. You got this, man. We're all on your side. Also, working out can be a very social thing, dude. You can meet new friends from working out if you go to a gym. If you have existing friends that work out, you can say, hey, dude, you mind if I work out with you, you know? Ironically enough, after I'm done recording this video, I'm probably gonna go work out, but before I work out, I'm gonna watch that TikTok one more time just to get me angry before I work out, you know? Just so I perform better.
5 facts to fight diet culture.
Fight diet culture? Fighting? You mean with fists, like throwing punches? Yeah, bro. Come on, come on. Didn't you know that throwing punches is a form of exercise? Yeah? Well, didn't you know exercise is fat phobic? Yeah, so fighting fat phobia is actually fat phobic because fighting is a form of exercise, and exercise... Dude, this is so stupid. I'm just rambling at this point. And listen, at the end of the day, if you're not gonna work out because of this video, I totally get it, no pressure, but, you know, at least you're better than these people that are literally propagating society to start killing itself slowly. Anyways, I really do hope you guys have been appreciating the daily uploads. I'm going to keep grinding, but with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you have, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Comment down dumbbell if you made it to the end of the video, and I'll try to heart your comment. Big thanks to all of my channel members. As always, you guys rock. Be sure to follow my social medias, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
I am promoting obesity.
Your parents failed. I mean, it really is just that simple. You are on TikTok promoting obesity. That is not something that anybody who is raised remotely properly ends up doing. You can be raised good and end up picking up elephant poop at the zoo for a living. You cannot be raised good and then promote obesity on TikTok. Just doesn't work. So yes, if it wasn't obvious from that clip, today we are going to be looking at some TikTokers promoting obesity and very unhealthy lifestyles. So yeah, leave a like on this video if you don't want to obtain a weight that when dropped into the ocean would create a tsunami. And yeah, let's get into watching these TikToks.
If promoting obesity is what it takes to make other fat people feel hot, obviously I'm gonna do that. So yes, I am promoting obesity. Stay mad. Thank you so much.
Except nobody ever said that. Nobody ever said that you have to promote obesity to make obese people feel attractive. How about you can tell an obese person, hey, I find you attractive, but you still face a much higher risk to develop heart disease. And you walk slow. Like, it's not that hard. It really is not that hard.
My page is a fat space. It's a fat acceptance space. It's a body positive space. It's a fat liberation space. It's a body politics. It's an anti-diet culture space.
Holy, oh my god. This person can make all of these labels for their little online space, but can't enter one space in real life that's called a gym. It's like... It's like insane. This is a body positive, fat liberation, fat pride, non-skinny space online. Like, my sister in Christ, I think it's time for you to maybe get offline.
It's not a let the fat person talk and then every thin person needs to chime in and give me their unwanted situation about whatever I'm talking about. Because that's not how you be a good ally. And
Yeah, dude, as a fat ally, I stand up against the hatred. Well, I sit down against the hatred that fat people are getting on a day-to-day basis. No, but jokes aside, it's like, I feel like the average person isn't really thinking in their head when they're interacting with a fat person, like, oh my god, this person is so large and gross. Ew, they're horizontally challenged. I feel like we're just kind of like, okay, this is another person that I'm talking to. I'm gonna behave the same way I always do. I have plenty of fat friends. I don't consider myself a fat ally. If anything, I'm an op. I'm a fat op. Not because I hate fat people or anything. I love my fat people, but just like, when I see stuff like this, it's just like, no thank you. I'm not an ally. I'm actually against this. And I feel like the average fat person is against this too. Like, I get comments on videos that I make that are similar to this, and I'll get comments from people that say, oh yeah, as a fat person, these people kind of scare me. And it's like, well shit, I mean, if that's even true, it's like, you know you've made a mistake.
Boo! Bricks, bricks, bricks. I'm throwing bricks.
So you were told by a professional that you should seek help, and you throw bricks at them with your TikTok sound? Okay, yeah, that's a measured response.
This is a public service announcement for all of my ladies out
Oh, little correction there. Ladies and thems. You know, we can't forget the thems. What?
there. This summer, we will not be putting up with unappreciative men in our lives.
Okay, I'm not going to show the rest of the TikTok because it's somewhat disturbing. We have this woman pretty much flaunting her half-naked body on the camera and acting like she is beautiful, which it's just like, no, I'm just not really feeling that. No thanks.
A really common thing I get is that fat phobia is not oppression because fat people can just lose weight.
Okay, so this is a literal fact. Let's see how she responds.
First of all, if in your mind you refuse to recognize the subhuman treatment of a group of people because you expect them to drastically alter their body, you're a terrible human being.
Okay, shut your mouth. Just shut your mouth. Telling somebody to hit the treadmill is not dehumanizing. You're telling somebody to drastically alter their body. Yes, and what about it? Literally, what about it? They will thank me once they become ripped. Very simple. Actually, no. Even better. They'll thank me once they're not dying of clogged arteries. Like,
Get away from me. Secondly, more and more research is coming out.
oh, of course, more research that's coming out. The research is coming out, guys. You're just gonna have to wait a bit. Yeah, well, in the meantime, while you're waiting for your new research, I'm gonna go off the hundreds of thousands of years that suggests that working out is probably good for you, or exercise in general is good for you.
Showing that fat people who do attempt to lose weight become vulnerable to other health conditions, including but not limited to an eating disorder.
Okay, well, excess eating is also an eating disorder. Binge eating is also an eating disorder. Like, are you really worried about eating disorders, or do you just not want to lose weight? Like, let's just be honest. It doesn't seem like you're equally concerned about one eating disorder opposed to another.
Not to mention all of the fat people with chronic illnesses and disabilities who physically can't lose weight, or even just the fat people who don't want to lose weight. Has it ever occurred to you that while some people are naturally thin, there are some people who are just naturally fat? Weight loss is not a requirement for being treated like a human being, and you will never convince me otherwise.
How on earth is telling somebody that they need to lose weight for their health not treating them like a human? People don't even know what that means. They just literally say that as a throwaway. You're not treating me like a human. It's like, dude, I treat my window like a window. I treat humans like a human. I don't know how to treat humans not like a human. Like, I just don't even know what that even means. And if your point by saying that is that you should be treating humans with kindness and decency, I totally agree, like 100%. That's why I think it would be unkind to allow people to literally eat themselves to death. Of course, nonstop name-calling, pointing, and laughing is never good. Like, you don't want that. But I feel like we're so far beyond that that we're actually in the other direction, to the point where it's just, like, not healthy.
If a fat person tells you that fat people are oppressed and your response is, well, I have insecurities too, there's a problem. One is an individual experience and the other is systematic oppression.
Dude, how are you real? Like, I almost feel like by entertaining these people, I'm doing a disservice to normal people by platforming these ideas, but at the same time, they're so ridiculous that it's just funny to talk about and I get free content.
And if you don't believe that fat people are oppressed, It's probably because you've never been fat enough to be oppressed by fat oppression.
This is only happening in America. No other place in the world is this happening.
What I eat in a day is a fat bitch who very controversially doesn't give a fuck that she's fat. For breakfast, I just had a Red Bull while I was getting my nails done, and then for dinner I went to Walk and Go, and that was the best Walk and Go I've ever had, you know, it was just so perfect. And then I had like half this donut, I didn't really like it that much, but it tasted a bit like Calpol. I had myself a little hot chocolate from Costa and a Fanta, because I was in there for literally about 2 hours. And then for tea, we went to Pizza Express where we got calamari, we got the doughballs, I just got a margherita pizza as well. And then obviously I finished my long day off with a nice big fat cup of tea.
Hey, I really don't know what she was saying, but I think I got the gist of it. She was just showing what she eats throughout the day. I mean, hey, listen, like, that all looks like pretty good food. I'm not even gonna fault you for